Class, welcome to week 4. This will be a busy week because you'll have project 1 that is due and you'll be starting on project 2. Note that project 2 is not due this week. The instructions are here. That will be due in a later week. Project 1, however, is due. If you are watching this and you have not yet started on project 1, please begin immediately. I've mentioned this a couple times before, but project 1 is a little bit more time intensive than our other projects, and you're going to want to set aside a significant amount of time to be able to finish it. The topics this week are choosing a site builder and choosing a host. We're really getting into now our website build. Project 1 wraps up this business idea brainstorming session, and you should really begin to hone in on a business idea now that you can put onto a website. And so we're going to get into the technical side now of launching a website. If you've built websites before, this will probably be a very basic level for you, and hopefully an easier week then. If you have not built websites before, don't be too concerned. There are different levels of complexities you can engage into to build your site, and we'll walk through that in choosing a site builder. Choosing a host and choosing a site builder are two very similar topics, and I'll try and explain the differences between them. First, in choosing a site builder, if you compare this to a physical building, a bricks and mortar store, we would call it, the site builder is the actual building that will house your store. The host that we'll look at second is sort of like the plot of land where your building will be built. Your instructions for this are to choose a platform on which to build your site. I'll walk through some of these different options. As I mentioned, there's different levels of complexity, and it's recommended if you take on certain platforms that you have some experience, and if you're a beginner that you use certain platforms. So let me jump into those. We were basically into 3 categories. We have a drag and drop builder here. The examples we have here are Wix and Weebly, very common drag and drop builders. Then you have content management systems, WordPress, Squarespace. These are kind of a hybrid between coding your own site and a drag and drop builder. You can start with a template, you get a little bit more customization, which is nice. Personally, I do not recommend you use WordPress for this class. I have built a few different websites in WordPress. It's a great platform, but it's a little glitchy, and especially for the things we're going to do later on with Google Ads, Google Analytics, it's just caused some problems for students. So if you've built websites in WordPress and you're comfortable with the platform, you're certainly allowed to. I don't recommend it because of the trouble that students have had in the past. Squarespace and Shopify, again, are other examples of content management systems. And then finally, if you'd like to and if you have the skill set, you're certainly able to build your own website. This was my main form of launching sites when I owned my web design business, mostly because clients wanted a custom-made website with custom features and things like that. This was 6-7 years ago. The templates and the drag and drop builders now are a little bit more advanced, and so if you want to do this, you're certainly able to. If you've done it before, you know that it can be a lot of work, and again, that's completely up to you. If you don't have experience in this, I do not recommend it. I would encourage you not to try and code a website from scratch. So those are your options in as far as categories. What you'll want to do for this assignment is to pick 3 different tools. They don't have to be from the same, they don't all have to be drag and drop, they don't all have to be content management systems. They can be, or you can pull from different categories. But choose 3 tools, and again, that's at the specific level. So you're not comparing content management versus drag and drop. You're comparing Weebly versus Wix versus Squarespace or something like that. And also, please feel free to research outside of the suggestions given here. This is not a comprehensive list by any means. Please do your own research and find different drag and drop builders that work for you. But compare 3 of these tools and use 3 criterion in your in your analysis, and then create a Word document and write a brief essay comparing and contrasting those three and explaining which one you chose and why. That will be the long and the short for this assignment, choosing a site builder. If we jump over to choosing a host, as I mentioned, the site builder is sort of like building the actual building if you were thinking of comparing this to a physical business, whereas the host is the plot of land. This is essentially reserving space online where you can house your website. That's what a hosting package does. I will tell you in advance, a lot of the systems we just looked at, especially the drag and drop builders, combine hosting and site building into one package. So please be very careful as you purchase these products to use for your business. It may be, and if you choose a drag and drop builder, it is very likely that that drag and drop builder comes with hosting. If it does not, you can choose a separate host and you'll be able to link the two. If you choose something like WordPress, you're gonna purchase a separate hosting package and link your WordPress site to that. So as you go through that process and you're researching your site building tool, check on the hosting. Now we're going to look at this separately because it's important for you to know the difference between the hosting package and the site builder, and that's why we have two separate assignments on this. Your instructions for this is essentially to do a very similar analysis to what you did in your site builder assignment, where you will choose 3 hosting companies. There are a lot of there is a lot of information here in how to choose a host. You're encouraged to do your own research on different hosting companies out there. There's many hosting companies. And then you'll choose 3 alternatives and 3 criterion, and then do your assessment with the quantify and compare spreadsheet. Then for your essay, answer these questions here. We're really looking at these questions getting answered for this assignment. So instead of more of a free form compare and contrast different options, you're going to answer those specific questions. I will say hosting packages, in my experience, if you do need to purchase a host, I don't find a lot of variation in performance. I really look at customer service, mostly because when you're launching a site, it's going to be a basic site. You're not doing really complex stuff with that site. And so I haven't seen a lot of variation in whether or not the host keeps your website up and running. That's their basic job. But there is variation in the packages they offer and the cost of those packages. Can you store videos, or does that cost extra? How's their customer service when you interact with them, or if you need to interact with them in the future? Those are the things that I really base that choosing a host decision on, because in my experience, and I certainly haven't used every hosting package out there, so it may vary a bit, but I just haven't had a lot of problems with a host being able to keep my website online consistently. They're all pretty good at that, and that's their basic function. Then we'll go through project 2. Similar to project 1, there is built in here some video examples and some videos, so I won't take a ton of time as these videos are already built, and I don't want to make double viewing work for you. What I want you to note is the main push for this assignment is to have 3 things. There's these 5 tasks that you can follow to make sure you check all the boxes, but what I'm looking for when I grade this assignment is, number 1, do you have your own domain name? This will be purchased separate from your site builder and from your hosting package, although sometimes they'll offer it tied in. They'll say, purchase this package and we'll throw in your domain name, or you can purchase a domain name at this cost. But you will need to purchase a domain name. And that is, for those of you unfamiliar, a domain name is the name of the site. So www.brotherluke.com, that's a domain name. It has to be its own domain name. If you were building a site through Weebly and you did their free option, it would say www.brotherluke.weebly.com. That is not an independent domain name. That is not its own domain name. And that's going to be important when it comes to Google Analytics, Google Ads. We need that independent domain name. So it needs to have its own domain name to start. Second, most of the necessary pages, navigational links, and some attempt at design. We're not looking for a polished product here, but I want to be able to see the basic construct of your website. I want to see, all right, you've got this, you know, I can get to your contact us here. I can get to your products here, even though you don't have all your products on there or you don't have any products on there. I see the construct of the site. That's really what I'm looking for. And then finally, integration with the third party to enable financial transactions. That means if you're selling something on your site, then you need to have PayPal or the credit card function that your site builder offers. If you're doing affiliate or drop shipping, those links are active. I can click on that and that'll kick over to that link to purchase the product from Amazon or whoever your affiliate agreement is with. So that's really what I'm looking for Project 2. Please note, again, this is not due this week, and next week we will be going through some specific examples of websites and get a little bit more into the design side of this so you can pick out what you want your website to look like. For this week, think about focusing more on building the site and having that site operational. We'll do more on the design side next week. And that'll be it. You'll have your reflection. Don't forget your discussion boards. If you run into any barriers with this, or you're struggling to know which site builder to use, which hosting package to use, please reach out. I'd be happy to offer any insider guidance I have on that. Over the last 5-6 years as I've been teaching this course, I've seen students use a lot of different products. Most of it goes very, very smoothly. There's a lot of learning on the front end to say, how does this function? Do I have all the necessary tools? But students have a really high success rate of getting that website and getting it launched. Oftentimes, I will encourage you to reach out to the company directly, the site builder or the host, because they have customer service departments that, at least in the past, have been very helpful for students. They want you to use their product. They want you to get up and going on that platform. Whether or not you're using it for a class or for a permanent business, they want that exposure and for you to have a good experience on with their product. So don't be afraid to reach out to them directly. There are a lot of technical answers at times that I wouldn't be able to give you directly, and they would. So don't be afraid to use them as a resource as well. But again, please reach out if you run into a stumbling block. Happy to help you through that. Thanks, everybody.